whatever that looks like for you. And you could raise the hips as well. So when you raise the hips, it helps the spine to find its natural, elegant lift a little more easily. And that's what we're looking for as well with this effortlessness in action, anchoring back into that pose by pose, breath by breath. And that will unfold even more beautifully today as we go towards this naturalness of breath workshop. So you can come on into a comfortable seat, maybe palms facing down or up. That's up to you. And if you'd like to, when you are ready to, you can close the eyes down and just scan through the body. So it's a wonderful practice to just be aware and take stock of where you are right now. Not needing to change anything, not needing things to be different, but rather just aware. Take that little snapshot, almost like a little selfie. And in this way, as we progress through the practice, you'll have something to compare to. How you are right now versus how you are after some breathing, after some moving, after some deeper presence through the postures. Maybe any aches and pains or your energy level today, with an experience of acceptance. And then when you're ready to, you can allow your breath to start to lengthen, sending the breath down into the belly. And finding expansion in the belly, this tidal rhythm of the breath, this ebb and flow of the breath. Breath pours in, breath pours back out again, emptying, clearing, cleansing. And just focusing on more length rather than depth. Sometimes when we just go for a deep breath, we end up going into our chest breath or habitual breath, but instead send the breath down. Lengthen the breath out, savoring, even flaring the nostrils. And after a few more of these breaths, welcoming yourself to the mat, welcoming yourself to this moment. You can then bring the hands into Namaste, and with that same amount of mindful presence, feel the touch of the hands on one another. Almost like you can feel the fingerprint grooves on one another. Such presence, such awareness, and such delight as well. And then 3 times, let's circle the arms around. Take a deep inhale, long inhale, to expand out and up and bring the palms to touch. Again, with that same presence, with that same delight as the hands touch each other, and twice more like that. Inhaling, circling the arms around. Exhale down through Namaste. And with your breath, connecting your movement and your breath together. A deep honoring, a greater awakening. Keep the hands in Namaste now and allow your intention to bubble up as a prayer, as a wish. Through the power of this practice, may I, through the power of this practice, may I awaken deeper peace, strengthen and harmonize my body. Just repeat your own intention, what it is for you in this moment. And to seal that in, you can circle the arms around one last time, inhaling to sweep the arms out and up. Bring the palms to touch and exhale the hands down through Namaste. Let's release the legs out into diamond pose, and we'll take the heart opening mandala with the diamond pose position legs. So as you inhale, interlace the fingers and lift the elbows high. And with your exhale, press the palms away, rounding through the upper back. Inhale, grow tall from sit bones to index finger knuckle. Hug the upper arms in. And exhaling, releasing to interlace the fingers behind the back of the body. Take an inhale and breathe down into the belly, but let the breath also flow up into that bright chest. And exhaling, hands back into Namaste. And once more like that, inhaling, float the elbows high. As you exhale, press the palms away and rounding. Inhale, grow tall. Hug the upper arms in like ear warmers. And exhaling to release. Maybe interlace the other index finger in front. Inhale to lift and open. And exhaling, hands back into Namaste. Adding in now, adding in the twist and the side bend. Inhale to lift. Exhale, that emptying and clearing out. Inhale, rising up. And then take this into your side bend. So exhaling off to the right side, leaning to the right. And inhaling back up through center, palms touch with that same delight as the fingertips touch. And then exhaling to twist off to your left side. Turning and looking over the left shoulder for a moment. Still stay long through the spine. And take that left arm, keep the right hand on the knee, take the left arm up and reach back over into your side bend. And then cross the arms all the way over. And you may be able to spin the palms out here and fold in a little deeper. Do keep the arms straight, but just let the head hang. Let it be soft and feel that effortlessness as you drape the head down. An effortlessness that can drop through the whole body, cascade through the body like a waterfall dropping down. And then lifting the arms up, come into Garudasana arms, eagle arms. Inhale to lift and pulsing 3 times here. Exhale, elbows to navel. Inhale to lift. And exhaling. And last time, inhale to lift. Release the hands, circle them all the way around and interlace behind you. Inhale to lift and open, and exhaling the hands back into Namaste. And let's take the left side. So inhale, interlacing the fingers, lift the elbows high. As you exhale, press the palms away. Inhale to lift and reach up. And exhaling, leaning to the left. Inhale, back up. Feel the fingerprints on one another. And exhale, twisting right. Pause for a moment, gaining height. And keep the left hand there. Stretch the right arm up and leaning over. Keep a little bit of tone through the belly here to make sure that you are supporting your lower back. And then crossing all the way over. So you can keep the palms down or palms up, whatever works for you. But do aim to keep the upper arm or the arms straight. So you stretch through the posterior deltoid there. You can float the arms up. And again, we pulse 3 times. Really connecting to the breath, connecting to the movement of the breath, and allowing our body to match and mirror that movement of the breath, expanding on the inhale. Curling in on the exhale and emptying out. With this inhale, lift and release the hands to interlace behind you. Reach the knuckles back and take an inhale. And then exhaling the hands back into Namaste. And pausing for a moment and already feeling the shifts and changes. Again, that little snapshot, a little selfie that you can compare to. From here, let's bring the knees up and swing the legs around. Come to a hands and knees position. Have the toes tucked towards you and the hands at shoulder width apart. Splay the fingers nice and wide and connect into the earth through those fingerprints. Take an inhale and open through the front of the body. And exhale to round. Inhaling to open out. And exhaling again, that emptying. Inhale to open. And this time stay here, walk the hands forward and lift the knees, pressing yourself back and into a downward facing dog, but just with knees bent. Feeling into those wintry hamstrings and not needing too much from them at this moment. Just allow the head to hang, and again, that experience of effortlessness that can radiate out as you let the head hang, maybe nodding the head yes a few times. An effortlessness that can be transferred into all the other muscles as they check in and see if they're over-efforting, overworking. If you can dial them down a little. And then looking forward to the hands, you can step yourself forward, or if you're feeling energetic this morning, jump forward. Lift halfway up as you inhale, and with your exhale, folding yourself in, again, not needing too much from your hamstrings here. Let's take a spinal roll, keeping the four corners of both feet pressing down, and of course you've got your feet hip width apart and parallel. Spinal roll up, extending the arms up, and exhaling straight back down. So hands down through center, then hands to thighs. Look at the knees, make sure they're tracking forward as you fold all the way down, and just hang like a rag doll for a moment. And keep that rag doll feeling as you inhale and come up with knees very bent. So like a seed popping open and unfurling, lifting, brightening upwards, and then exhale, and that soft dissolving down the way that a wave crashes onto itself. One more time like that, inhaling to lift and brighten, and exhale, just this softening and letting go. Inhale to lift and lengthen through the spine. And let's move into some sun salutes now. So step your right foot back all the way to the back of the mat and take the knee down. So you've got that nice, long, generous stance. And inhaling, one breath to sweep the arms up. And exhaling, taking the hands down onto the earth. Inhale back into an easy plank position, pressing the earth away from you, lift through the belly. And exhale to lower slowly down. Rise up into your Shalabhasana. So lifting through the head, chest, and legs. Lift the thighs up off the floor. Engage through the upper back to lift a little higher. And then see if you can bring that effortlessness again. Are you over-efforting? Are you hardening? Is there something that you can bring more softness to? And releasing down. Inhale up through your easy plank again, and exhale back to downward facing dog. And here you can do grounding one heel and then the other heel into the earth. And then from here, inhale, smoothly stretch the right leg to the sky. And take a tiger curl, a little bit of heating. Exhale, knee into the chest, rounding through the back. Inhale to stretch up and back. And exhale that right foot all the way to the hands, helping it forward if you need to. Take the back knee down onto the earth and inhale to sweep the arms up. This again, still connecting breath and movement together. Exhaling down. Inhale, lifting through the chest, step forward. And exhale to fold yourself in. Inhaling to rise up, reaching palms to touch overhead, and exhale the hands into Namaste. Inhaling, so take another Surya Namaskar C like that. Inhale, lifting halfway up. And exhale the left leg back. So you might need some padding underneath the knee as we're going to be here a little bit longer. You could also use a block if your hamstrings are tight. So inhaling and sweeping the arms up. And as you exhale, place the hands onto the floor and rock back, flirting with hamstring opening here. And a few more times like that. Inhaling, finding an effortless ease about the movement. And also that your breath isn't just moving up, we're sending the breath down into the belly. And one last time like this. Keeping length in the spine, presence in your body. Come forward, plant the foot, and then stepping back. So you could take a high plank now or sticking with a low plank. Engaging through the core, broaden through the collarbones, and press the earth away from you as you lower. Then coming into Sphinx Pose, lengthen back through the toes, anchor down through the tops of the feet, and then send the chest forward. So like warm toffee, you're stretching long more than thinking about lifting up. Add in a little bit of activation through the core, so lifting through the belly and engage through the glutes as well. Then releasing and touching down. You can rise up through a full or a half push-up and back into downward facing dog. Not holding the dog too long because we're going to be doing plenty of them this afternoon. Let's take the left leg to the sky and exhale, tiger curl. Inhale smoothly up. And exhale the foot forward to the hands. Again, some knee padding could be helpful here. And make sure that left foot's far enough forward, giving yourself plenty of room, engaging down through the earth and lifting up to the fingertips. And then as you exhale, rock back and drawing the left leg towards straight. It doesn't have to straighten. Check that the spine's not rounded either. You want to link through the spine. And working with your breath. Inhale to lift. And exhaling, rocking back. And then let's stay low. Walk the hands forward. Lift the back knee and step forward. Lift halfway in. And exhale to fold yourself in. Come up through a reverse swan dive, bending the knees and finding that lightness as you lift. And exhale the hands down through Namaste. So pausing for a moment and again just scanning through as we build the practice. Feel how there's a little bit more awakening through the body, like lights being switched on in different rooms of the house. Take an inhale, sweeping out and up. Exhale down into Utkatasana now, chair pose. And finding that neutral pelvis, make sure again the knees are tracking directly over the toes. And as you inhale, lengthen and extend the breath down while reaching up to the fingertips. Then you can exhale and fold yourself forward and down. Inhale to lift halfway up. And then take the right leg to the back of the mat. Come into this high lunge position now. And we'll just take one of the classic movements. Inhale up and exhale to interlace the fingers behind the back of the body. Inhale to lift through the chest. And exhaling the hands down onto the earth. Inhale back into a plank position. This time, as you lower, you can widen the hands a little and rise up into cobra. If that's okay for you, feel free to stick with the Sphinx Pose if you need to. And exhaling to lower yourself down. Rise up through a full or half push-up and back to downward facing. Again, not lingering too long. Let's take the left leg to the sky. Did I say left? It's actually your right. So you can do a little scissor kick switch if you need to. Exhale the right knee into the chest. Inhale, up and back. And exhale the foot forward to the hands. Inhaling, taking the arms up. And exhale to interlace. The other finger interlaces behind you. Reach the knuckles back, and again, this brightness through the chest, as well as an ease and an effortlessness. And then exhaling, releasing the hands down. Recoil, step forward, lift halfway up as you inhale, and exhaling to fold. Let's move through chair pose again, bending the knees and inhaling to take the arms up. And interlace the fingers behind you as we have been doing, exhaling. Rather than squeezing the palms onto each other, this time keep the palms open and feel an opening between the elbows as well. Press through the feet, inhale, reaching up. And exhale to fold yourself forward and down. Inhale to lift halfway up. And exhaling the left leg back to the back of the mat. So keep the left hand down on the floor and inhale to open the right arm to the sky. Then reaching the right arm forward and dipping it down and rocking back like we did a little in the previous version, straightening up through the right leg. Inhaling, bend the knee and stretch forward, and exhaling, sweeping the arm back, and the right leg moves towards straight. Just being tender with your hamstrings. Inhale forward and exhaling, rocking back. And then inhaling forward, come all the way up, bringing the palms to touch overhead just for a moment. And exhaling the hands down onto the earth. Step yourself back and into plank. And lowering down. So maybe even hovering now if you wanted to, and take the little connecting vinyasa of your chaturanga to up dog. Or stick with cobra. I love cobra. Such a great upper chest opening. Let's all meet back in downward facing dog when we get there. And this time it's really the left leg that lifts. And tiger curl, knee into the chest. Stretch it up and back. And then step the foot forward. Okay, keep the right hand down on the floor and inhaling the left arm up to the sky. Keep that back leg bright and strong, lifting through the thigh rather than sagging the hips down. Engage down through your foundation and feel the lift. Catch a little bit of energy in the belly as you then lengthen the fingertips overhead. And then we work with the breath. So sweeping the arm back, rocking back as best you can, straightening that left leg up, and then inhaling and forward. Exhaling, rocking back. And the arm is encouraging that left hip to move back as well. A couple more times like this. Inhale forward and exhale back. Last one. And then for one breath, inhaling and taking the arms up. Exhale to release and touch down. Recoil and step yourself forward. Lift halfway up, lengthening through the spine. And exhale to fold in. Press through the feet. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come all the way up, palms touch, and exhale the hands down into Namaste. And again, just this very quick scan from the top of the head to the tips of the toes and feeling what you feel. Notice what you notice. And celebrating this awakening of awareness that yoga is. Inhale to sweep the arms out and up. And exhale down into your Utkatasana, chair pose position again. Inhaling, sweeping up and lifting the right knee up here. And as you exhale, cross it over and into this figure four shape, keeping the right ankle active. Inhale and lift again. And as you exhale, cross all the way over and come into Garuda arms. So we've got the left elbow on top and the right leg on top. Then release the hands, touch down with the foot, so the pinky toes are touching there and the legs are crossed over. Inhaling and sweeping the arms up and then leaning over to the right side. So catch hold of the left wrist with the right hand. And as you bend to the side, spin the chest open to the left, maybe looking to the left, maybe looking for something just a bit beyond. So you can get a deeper opening. But making sure that it's not at the expense of clenching your jaw or hardening your eyes. Is there some more effortlessness that you can bring in? And then inhaling to come on up. You can fold yourself forward and down here. So you may need a block. This is quite a deep hamstring opening. If you need to bend the knees, go ahead. And then we'll take that back leg, the left leg, back to the back of the mat. And you can realign your feet so that they're back into the hip width apart. Take an inhale and sweeping the arms up. And take Garuda arms. So we'll do the left elbow on top and the right elbow underneath, and lifting and arching back. And as we did in the warm-up, bend the back knee and pulse elbows to navel. Feel free to have the back knee on the floor if you need to, but if you can, just twice more like that. Inhale to lift and exhaling in. One last time. Brighten the back leg, lifting the arms, circle all the way around and planting the hands down. So now we're going to take a side plank on this left hand, but rather than just stepping straight back, I'll just mirror you for a moment, just have this right foot about halfway down the mat and stretching the arm up and even lengthening over. Lengthening through to the fingertips. Then release and touch down. You can step all the way back into your plank and either taking child's pose if you wanted to, or moving through a connecting vinyasa, which we'll get to soon, covering how to do that smoothly and with an effortlessness. Inhale to rise up and pressing back into downward facing dog. From downward dog, let's walk the hands back to the back of the mat and just allowing the head to hang here. Come on up through a spinal roll, chin into the chest, rising all the way up. Bring the palms to touch and exhaling the hands down through Namaste. So same moves that we did before, bending into your chair pose, inhaling and lifting the right leg up. And as you exhale, cross it over and into this standing pigeon position, figure 4 shape. So feel free to stay here, or some of you might be able to go a little deeper, placing the hands onto the earth. Again, just scanning through the body. Is there a habitual hardening that you could perhaps let go of? But equally, is there something that needs to be turned up? Something like this right foot needs to stay active. And then let's inhale and rise up, reach up, and step the right foot forward. So just checking your alignment, that you've got hip width apart feet and that the back toes of the left foot are facing forward as much as possible. For now, have both legs straight. Take an inhale and reaching the arms up. Take temple mudra, so sometimes called Charlie's Angels mudra, and bend into that right knee. So you come into this Virabhadrasana 1 shape. And then circling the arms around, press the palms onto each other and go into a reverse Namaste. Maybe straightening it up through the front leg now as you really steer this left hip forward and then folding forward and down. Some of you, this might be too much in the shoulders. Feel free to have the hands down on the earth. Maybe too much in the hamstrings. Feel free to use a block or a thick novel, whatever you have around. And then you can release and touch down. Bend into the front leg and step yourself forward. We'll walk ourselves all the way to the front of the mat here. Lift halfway up and lengthen through the spine. And with an exhale, folding yourself in. Come on up, reverse swan dive. Standing tall, so Tadasana, that clean slate that we can keep moving back to again and again. Inhale and sweep the arms up overhead. And exhale down into your Utkatasana, sinking the hips down. Make sure the knees are tracking directly over the toes. And then circling the arms around, inhale, lifting the left leg this time, nice and high. And exhale down into your figure 4 position, staying strong through that left ankle. Inhale to sweep up, lifting the left knee high again. This time come across and into Garudasana. And we've got the right elbow on top. So sinking down a little here. And then let the arms fly free as you touch the pinky toes together. And we'll be leaning over to this left side. So inhale the arms up, catch hold of the right wrist, spin the right palm up, and then start to lean to the side. Spin the chest open to that right side. And as you hold here, you might be playing Spot the Difference. If you know me, you know that as a dyslexic yoga teacher, I often get my left and rights wrong, but I'm going for that non-dual unity consciousness anyway, where we are all one, when left and right simply dissolve. So that's my story, I'm sticking to it. Exhale and fold yourself forward and down. So you'll be here at the front of the mat in a forward fold with the legs crossed, and you may need a block perhaps. And moving into this forward bend and releasing through the hamstrings and even releasing through the base of the skull.
you'll be stepping your back leg back. So that's your right leg steps back, and you'll have your left leg forward at the front of the mat. Inhaling and taking the arms up and coming into Garuda arms again. So we go right elbow on top and entwining, lifting, and then we pulse here a few times. So exhale, bend the back knee, elbows to navel. Inhale to brighten through that back leg and even arching back if it's available. And exhale. And last one. Releasing the arms, inhale, and sweeping all the way up. Then like a swan dive, forward fold. You can then plant the right hand firm on the floor and just slide this left foot back so that we're in this half plank position, and stretch the top arm over to lengthen through the side body just a little. From here you can plant the hand and step back into your plank pose.
And then lowering yourself down. Rise up into your back bend, lengthening and opening. And exhaling down. Lift into your plank and back into downward facing dog. Then walking back to the back of the mat. And take a spinal roll, come all the way up to stand at the back of the mat. And exhaling down through your chair pose once again. So inhaling our left leg to lift and exhaling, crossing it over. You can fold yourself in a little deeper here. Again, just scanning those hot spots. Do you clench your jaw or tense up in the neck and shoulders when you don't need to? And then inhaling and lifting. And stepping yourself forward here. So into a Virabhadrasana 1 position with the temple mudra, or Charlie's Angels mudra. So stand down strong through the right heel, bend into the left knee, and just pausing here for a moment. Checking that the right toes and right hip are squared. You can then circle the arms around and come into Namaste position. Reverse Namaste. And if reverse Namaste doesn't work, you can hold on to the wrists or the elbows and going into your forward fold. And as you do that, the left hip moves back, the right hip moves forward. And you've got the options to have the hands down on the floor and even to have that left knee bent, no problem. Give it 2 more breaths here. And then from here, you can step yourself forward, lifting halfway up, lengthen through the spine. And exhale to fold yourself in, nodding yes for a moment. Come on up through a spinal roll, chin into the chest, rounding through the upper back. As you rise up and exhale the hands down into Namaste. And pausing again, that little snapshot. Feeling the lights turn on, the body awakening. And from here, release the arms down, inhale and circling out and up. And exhale to fold yourself forward and down. Lift halfway up as you inhale. And with your exhale, step both legs back and into downward facing dog. Again, not holding down dog too long. Let's lengthen the right leg to the sky. Take a tiger curl, and if you wanted to, twisting over to the left elbow or left armpit. Inhale to stretch up and back. And exhaling, step the foot forward to the hands. So turning the back heel in and down, coming on up into your Virabhadrasana 2 shape here. So you have the front heel aligned with the back arch, and do make sure that that back heel is slightly turned away. So the little toe, or the toes are turned in slightly. Check also the tracking of your right knee. You should be able to spot at least your big toe or second toe to the inside of that knee. And then that the hands are at shoulder height. So as long as I don't say to pull the hips open, generally your hips will be on a bit of an angle, and we find that position of naturalness. So then inhale and come into a reverse warrior, deliberately deepening the bend in that right knee so that you stay in a nice right angle there. And as you exhale, you can straighten the front leg, come on out into Trikonasana. So whether the hand comes onto the shin or onto the earth, or it could even hover to the inside if you'd like. Have that feeling of grounding down through the four corners of the feet, but you may need to press a little more into the ball of the right foot so that you can get this release through the back of the knee. Then bend into the front knee and come into Parshvakonasana. So whether you hold this position, or if you'd like to, come deeper and into a bind, maybe hand to the inside of the foot, which helps to find a rotation through the chest. Or some of you might be able to take the top arm back and wrap around. So making sure that you bind at the back of the thigh. So it's something that we often see is this bind, it's called the curry stop. But rather than having the hands at the at your bits, having the bind more at the back of the thigh. And then draw the torso back and spin the chest open. Nice work. All right, release and planting the hands down. Step yourself back and into downward facing dog. Feel free to take a pause in child's pose. Or if you wanted to move through a connecting vinyasa of your plank chaturanga to up dog or onto the belly and cobra. And then let's meet back in downward facing dog, however you get there. Like Tadasana, down dog is that clearing the slate. It's like home base, returning home. Inhale and take the left leg to the sky. Exhale and tiger curl and take the knee across to the opposite elbow, perhaps. Inhale and stretching up and back. And exhale the foot forward to the space between the hands. So Virabhadrasana 2, turn the back heel in and down and extending the arms out. Look to your back foot. Make sure that the toes are turned slightly forward of the heel and that the front toes are again tracking forward and that you can see the big toe just to the inside of the knee. Take the hands onto the ribs and rotate the ribs around without letting the hip open, keeping that back hip moving slightly forward. And then inhale into a reverse warrior. Keep tracking that left knee forward and lengthen to the left fingertips, spinning the chest around. And then exhaling out into your triangle pose. So in triangle pose, check that the torso isn't pitching forward. This is a good angle for you to see. This often happens, this pitching forward of the torso. Instead, draw everything back into the center, but without needing to pull that back hip back. You can instead keep the hips as they are and rotate the ribs around to the sky, maybe staying looking down. And just almost as like a parting gesture of goodbye, looking up for a moment. And then you can bend into the front leg, into your left leg, come into this Parshvakonasana position. Maybe elbow onto the knee, maybe hand to the earth, and lengthening here, perhaps coming into the bind. So again, it could be a good angle to see. So you actually do need to take the torso forward to catch, and then draw the torso back into alignment with the leg. And as much as you're rotating the chest open, you can isolate between the hips and the ribs. So ribs rotate open, but that right hip stays where it is. And smoothly releasing from there, planting the hands and stepping yourself back and moving through that connecting vinyasa again, whatever that looks like for you. Then melting the knees down onto the earth. Walk the hands forward and come into an Anahatasana shape. So melting the chest down towards the earth, the middle of the chest to the earth, but the armpits are lifting, and go for a feeling of the armpits spinning around to smile at each other. As you exhale, melt in a little deeper. And then you can emerge and sit back onto the heels. So if this is uncomfortable, by all means, you can go crossed legs. But we will be moving into some Utkatasana shapes in a moment. So if you can stay here and just checking in, experiencing the difference through the body. And if it's all right for your knees, press into the shins and inhale to rise up into a kneeling position. And with your exhale, left hand onto the lower back and starting to move towards a Utkatasana, back bend, but just staying with the hand on the hip for now. With the hand on the hip, you can get a sense of lengthening the sacrum down to the space between the knees, and with the arm reaching up, feel a lifting, like you're holding on to 1,000 helium balloons and they're lifting you up. And so it's creating length in the spine rather than compression. I was still holding on to my balloons. All right. And you can then release and come down, circle the arms around, inhale out and up, and exhaling the right hand onto the lower back, and then using the right hand to encourage the sacrum down to the space between the knees and lengthening back, as well as lifting up. So it's more up than back. And inhale, come all the way up. This time you may like to, we'll just fold forward and get off the knees for a moment. So stretching back into downward facing dog. And in down dog, let's take a twisting movement. So reach the right hand across to your left ankle and twisting yourself around here. Stay firm through the left hand. And then switching over to the other side. And then release and touch the hand down. And padding under the knee could help as well. And keep the toes tucked this time as we move towards the full Ustrasana shape. Inhaling and taking the arms up. Exhale, both hands down around now onto the lower back. So get that engagement through the glutes and lift through the pubic bone, lift through the chest as well. So as you arch back, it's not just compressing into the lower back, but getting this elegant arch and leaning. So imagining the 10,000 helium balloons now drawing you backwards so that it gives you that, again, that feeling of length rather than compression. And then you can make your way up and release to plant the hands onto the floor. Let's just go into child's pose. So you can go child's pose with the knees apart and pillow the hands. You can try this version of threading the hands between the legs. That is a very beautiful feeling, this sense of going back into the safety of the child, the sleeping little baby. And take one last moment here. And then making your way up, you can pivot the feet over to the left and bring the hips to the right. So you'll keep your right leg underneath and cross the left leg over the top. So we'll come into Adamatsi Andrasana, either wrapping the arm around, your right arm around the leg, or up around to the outside of the leg as you twist yourself around. And again, so we did the bind last with the Parshvakonasana. You could also bind here. Long arms is an advantage for that one. You thread the arm through between the legs and wrapping around to catch hold. But remembering it's just a yoga pose. It doesn't actually mean anything if you can get this pose and other people can't. Just a yoga pose. So finding, even in this compression through the belly, an opportunity for you to breathe down into the belly. And then inhale, turn the head to look forward, and exhaling, release. And I'll give you a choice here. It's either to come into Gomukhasana, crossing that top leg all the way over and folding forward, or some of you might like to take double pigeon. So double pigeon, as if one pigeon isn't bad enough, double pigeon, the feet. So see how my shins are stacked on top of each other. And as if they're running down you'll be running down the little edge of the mat. And then folding forward as well. And scanning through here. So these are classic postures that we can reflect and realize that we're gripping and holding unnecessarily. These are the moments that we can retrain ourselves to find an ease, to let effortlessness be our natural state. Separating the teeth, softening the ears away from the shoulders. One last breath here. Melting, melting. Become like a pancake that's been poured into a pan. Let it go. And then you can slowly make your way up. Let's uncross the legs. and come into this beach pose position. For a moment, let's open out into a reverse table. So the hands, fingers are pointing towards the corners of the mat and engage through the glutes to lift a little higher. And then exhaling and lowering yourself down. And from here, we'll just go to the second side. So tuck your left leg under, right leg over the top, and coming into your Adamatsi Andrasana. And remember, you've got the option here to come into the bind if you wanted to give that a nudge today. And even meeting these challenges with an openness, meeting these with a curiosity. I wonder. And with that compression of the thigh on the belly, you've actually got something to breathe into. So send your breath down there. Like a warm hand, like a warm reminder. Your thigh is there on your belly. One last breath here. And then turning the head to look forward. Again, your choices are Gomukhasana, where we cross the thighs right over. See how my knees are stacked on top of each other. And the heels are to the outsides of the hips. So Gomukhasana and folding forward. Or you could do this, the stacked legs or fire log pose, Agni Sambhasana, or double pigeon and folding forward here. So the idea being that you're getting a hip opening somewhere. And going into that opening with this effortlessness, this ease as your underlying state. Yes, there may be sensations and thoughts and ideas that float across the screen of the mind, like clouds float across the sky. But that gorgeous blue sky is untouched by the clouds. And just 2 more moments here. Isn't it wonderful? Don't even know how long a moment is. But they're so good, we'll take 2 of them. And then you can emerge from there and uncrossing your legs. And return back into this reverse table position, engaging through the glutes to lift the hips a little higher. And then lowering the hips down, bring the hips down towards the heels and coming down onto the elbows. And then coming down onto your back. And pausing for a moment. So it's not quite time for Shavasana, but it's another opportunity for that snapshot. Seeing the difference. The magic of the postures and the way that they have worked through you. Body, mind, energy. You can then tuck the hands, palms facing down underneath the buttocks, and draw the right knee into the chest. Keep the hands there. Stretch the right leg to the sky and exhaling to lower the heel to the earth. And just cycling around like this. So inhale to lift and exhaling to lower, keeping a core activation as the leg lowers. And if you wanted to, rising up into a bridge pose with this. So inhale to lift and exhale, and twice more like that. You don't have to rise up into the bridge, but if you wanted to, you could. And one last time. Okay, take the leg up again and crossing over into that figure 4 shape that we have done. Lowering yourself down. And just take threading the needle. So the right hand comes between the legs, interlace the fingers over the shin or the back of the thigh. And some of you might like to work on the hamstring a little more by straightening your left leg up, perhaps going into a deeper hamstring opening. Otherwise, just sticking with your right hip opening in threading the needle. And then open the arms out into a T position. Place that left foot onto the floor. Lift the hips and cross the legs over. Lift the hips, take them over to the right. And then if you're able to, crossing the legs over and moving to the left side. But that's not for everyone. So uncrossing the legs is fine. Perhaps straightening the bottom leg is another option. There's lots of options for you with the twists. Again, that awareness of the breath in and out of the belly, the tidal rhythm of the breath. And returning back into center. Again, place the hands underneath the buttocks, palms facing down, and let's draw that left knee in. Inhale the leg up and exhale to lower, engaging through the core deliberately as you lower. Inhale the knee into the chest, leg up, and exhaling to lower. So engaging as in moving the navel towards the spine, and even the pubic bone towards the navel. So last one like that. Then adding in the bridge pose, so you can engage the hands down into the earth and lift. And twice more like that. So just 3 all together. Bringing that smoothness, even bringing an ease to the movement. And then with this one, you can cross the leg over and come into that figure 4 shape for a moment and lowering yourself down. Find the threading the needle pose, a little bit of rocking. Perhaps then straightening the right leg out if that's an option for you. Otherwise, just staying either interlaced at the thigh or the shin, and even using your left elbow onto the left knee to encourage it away and still have that left foot active. So going towards the spinal twist now, place your right foot down, open the arms out into a T position, lift the hips, take them over to the left, and then either crossing the legs or uncrossing the legs and taking the supine spinal twist. Supta Parvatanasana. As much as you're able, the left ear onto the floor. And the breath being welcomed by the belly. Just as Tadasana or down dog are our home base to return to throughout the yoga class, the diaphragmatic belly breath, soft belly breath is the home base that we can return to not only through our practice, but through our day as well. Let's return back through center, and you can place yourself down for Shavasana, finding your comfortable place, which could be having a bolster underneath the knees or the backs of the thighs. It could be with a small pillow under the head, or even a eye pillow or a scarf across the eyes, to encourage that turning inside, turning inside. I wonder what the feelings and sensations are that have been unlocked in you from these movements, from these postures. You can begin to notice all the shifts and changes through your body. And maybe in that screen of the mind, where thoughts and emotions can pass by, perhaps you notice more blue sky than clouds, more blue sky than the weather systems, the passing array of weather. Or perhaps it's at the energy level. A feeling of being open. All the pipes unblocked, and there's this free flow of energy. Tingling, buzzing, scintillating, vibrating. Life that you are. And take all the gifts, the bounty, the blessings from this practice, and that cumulative effect from all the practices, from all the hours on your mat. from this place of such fullness, such bounty, held with ease and held with tenderness. You can allow your breath to start to lengthen once again, coming full circle, turning back to the breath. Allow the breath to awaken the body as you see fit. Maybe it's stretching long, maybe it's curling into a little ball. You can then roll yourself over to the side and come on up to a seated position. And as always, counting our lucky stars. With so many blessings, with such bounty, from this place of infinite fullness that we are connected to. Let us send our blessings out, a heartfelt wish. May all beings across all realms be at peace. May all beings be happy. May all beings be freed from suffering. Please join me with one Om to send our blessings out. Take a long inhale. Deep peace to you, sweet friends. Namaste. Thank you for your practice.